Only 39% of Americans approve of how Joe Biden is handling his presidency.
He'll obviously not be remembered as a poor president, but I think really he might not be remembered very much at all.
Is Joe Biden senile or a pathological liar? His health continues to decline, which is just absolutely tragic medical news for him, even though he's on vacation right now. We don't know what he's doing. I think they tried to get him out of town so that people didn't see the bad news about him. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel as we wonder who's driving the car. Who is the president of the United States right now? I don't think we have a president now. I don't think we've had one for 4 years. Watch this.
All right, now this. According to new polling, only 39% of Americans approve of how Joe Biden is handling his presidency. I want to know who the 39% are. 20% believe the government is the biggest problem facing the country today. Behind that is immigration and the economy.
Now, a 39% approval rating for Joe Biden. That cuts so deep into Democrat territory for the United States. That is, Democrats have a negative view. I would guess that's at least 11%, the left half of America. At least 11% of the centrist Democrats despise Joe Biden. And if the biggest problem in America that they all said is the government, and the government, it's their way of complaining and saying, it's the administration. We don't like this guy. He'll be remembered as the worst president, hiding his obvious senility. And we're going to get into an article asking if he's senile or not. You guys can weigh in, of course, in the chat below. Don't forget to subscribe. Is he senile or is he just a very mean, crazy guy? But this is the conspiracy of our lifetime. For media to try to pull one over on the public. Obviously, if they successfully pulled it over on the public, he wouldn't have been kicked out and replaced with Kamala Harris. And if they successfully pulled one over on the public and convinced people that Kamala Harris was normal and good, she'd have won the election. So after years of them telling you basically Trump is the greatest form of evil of all time, he still won the election. That's good news because it means people do not believe the media anymore. We're all a little more savvy. And really, it's made us all a little bit more skeptical. We don't believe media anymore. We also don't believe our own government because our own government is run by Democrats, which are liars. I hate to use such harsh terms, but it really is. They've discredited themselves. They've lied to us so much that we don't trust the government. So we have to put people back in government under Trump that engender more trust again.
But look, these are not new numbers for Joe Biden. It may be a new poll,
No.
but we've been here before. He hasn't had an approval rating above 50% since, I believe, July 2021. So really, this is more of the same. I mean, who even knows if he's aware of the latest polling, to be frank? He's going out with a whisper.
Yeah.
So in some ways, the news is that this is not news, that this has been going on. He's had a low approval rating below 50% since 2021. He was never able to get above that poll rating after the pullout from Afghanistan. So once again, the people didn't forget. This is really a victory for truth about how we didn't fall for it and about how, though you're saturated by social media and algorithms cheating results, right, to favor Biden and to push Trump down, positive news about Trump down, it didn't work, guys. It means that we really are more closer to the truth than we think they are, and people aren't buying a giant lie. There's other good news involved with that. That is that people really do, I think, love tradition and family and God, Jesus Christ, more than the polls and more than what's being presented to you. Think of all the things that you enjoy that are unpopular by modern culture. I just want you guys to know that there's more people believing those truths than the media has been letting on to. So I'm just here to help get you ungaslit and deprogrammed, because we walk around a little glum and go, oh, culture, it's too far gone. It's too far lost. It's not as bad as we think it is.
He'll obviously not be remembered as a poor president, but I think really he might not be remembered very much at all. It's just going to go out with a whisper, much like the man himself.
You know what? We spoke to someone earlier who said there's quite a civil war going on within the Democrat Party as to where do they go from here? Who's our leader? I mean, they are in disarray, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, well, anytime there's a major collapse, like what we just experienced, there's going to be soul searching, there's going to be an autopsy. And look, there's going to be different wings of the party and factions that fight for sort of the narrative. What was the lesson we're supposed to learn? Do we go in a more AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib direction? Do we embrace, Hamas and the Palestinians? These are all questions the Democrats are going to have to work out. And someone's going to, win in these fights. So it is very, very important.
So Biden won't be remembered at all, which is probably fair because Biden won't remember us at all. He's barely even here as it is. I don't think he even knows what he's doing. This puts into question, by the way, everything Biden has done in the last 4 years where he has signed his name. If they prove that he's senile and incompetent and incapable of making those decisions, they could all get reversed legally because the president has the authority to make those decisions. And if it's someone else making the decision for the president who are not elected, then that's illegal. You could reverse those decisions. For instance, these pardons, all of these things that he's pushing could get reversed. Now, the Democrats, they've said, are in array. We've been doing a lot of videos on, are they going to find their footing? Are they going to rebuild? What are they going to rebuild around? The only thing they really could rebuild around is a Bernie Sanders style of left-wing populism, which is kind of what communism is, kind of a class warfare. And that has to be rooted in lies also. And I don't think they can pull it off without because the media is so disrespected now. I don't think they can pull that off. They're talking about is how there's conflict between Nancy Pelosi, who represents the old wing of the Democrat Party, and probably the Republican version of that would be Mitch McConnell, the old version. And I don't mean old as in age. I mean old as in the old way of doing things, because Trump is an aged man, but he does not do things the old way of doing things. So that's what I mean by the old way of doing things is getting pushed out. And there's a new way of doing things, including on the left. And that bright light or that hope is being put in some of the younger members who we consider just complete squirrely, crazy leftists. That's AOC, Ilhan Omar, the squad is where the vibrancy is in the Democrat Party, though they're a tiny minority slice. Okay, so now I wanted to skip over to this article at the National Review, which is just more dismal news for Joe Biden. Is Biden senile or a pathological liar? You guys weigh in the comments below. Which one is it? Meeting recently with some progressive activists, Biden said his $426 billion student loan forgiveness was accomplished by a law that he had just signed. I got it passed by a vote or two. No, he did not. So this goes back to, is he senile? Does he know? Or is he just evil? I don't think he knows. Biden was not merely, again, embellishing his achievements. This is not just another of his verbal fender benders. There's no less than dismaying explanation for his complete confusion. What vote? Who voted? It didn't happen, Joe Biden. Will's conclusion is that Biden is senile. It is frightening that Biden does not know or remember what he recently did regarding an immensely important policy. He must be presumed susceptible to future episodes of similar bewilderment. That's one possibility. The other is that Joe Biden is a pathological liar. That's also true. There is no third option. I am habitually soft on politicians who make verbal mistakes. They travel constantly and talk incessantly and are bound at some point to forget which city they're in, say 57 states, which is Obama said there were 57 states, or what you will. But as Will points out, Biden says flatly untrue things so often now that one can only conclude that even adequacy is in his past. Okay, first of all, I'm going to say he was already a pathological liar. We have that back when Biden was sane. He was a sane man who lied constantly. Well, now he's senile. So what do you get when you cross a liar who's senile? I don't think you can trust anything this guy says. He's in the past. I believe it's absolutely tragic for America that we're going to go a whole nother month without a president in charge. The people who voted for Biden, that guy is not in charge. Someone you did not elect is running this country, and it's people on his board or his panel or the Obamas. I don't know who. It is not Joe Biden. I'm Doug in Exile.